I got this call yesterday, so I am going to be reading. There was no time for me to memorize what I want to share with you, so bear with me. There are blessings placed throughout any difficult life journey, but you don't always recognize them until you've survived the storm and begin to reflect back on what you've actually walked through. Aside from being a single mom, I consider my other greatest accomplishment in life to be that of a caregiver to my only sibling, Mark Wilhelm. He fought a brave yet brutal battle with pancreatic cancer and passed away 1 year ago this month. From the moment of his diagnosis, our family rallied together and embraced the motto, "No one fights alone." We did our best to surround Mark with unconditional love, support, memories, and laughter during his months of treatment. We strived daily to keep his spirits up while we watched his strength diminishing and his body becoming weaker right in front of our eyes. It was very humbling for me to see my strong brother now unable to accomplish simple tasks of daily living for himself. His growing need for assistance made him feel like he had become a burden to those of us who love him the most. Mark was never a burden to us. In fact, it was my ability to do things for him that gave me strength on those difficult days. When you watch someone losing ground against this disease, it makes you feel horribly helpless and angry. I wanted desperately to rip this disease from his body, and I wanted to fix it for him, but I couldn't. I had to find a purpose and help him in the only ways that I could. Love, companionship, meals, errands, laundry, lawn work. There wasn't anything that he couldn't have asked of me, our entire family, or any of his friends. We would have done anything for him. It was my only way to stay not focused on the fact that I knew cancer was indeed winning his battle. I recall sitting in the doctor's office holding Mark's hand last spring after a routine blood work, and he asked the oncologist, "Do you think I can return to work soon?" Our world stood still when the doctor looked up at the two of us and solemnly replied, "Mark, you're not going back to work." You see, it had been a rather spontaneous decision that day for me to accompany Mark to that appointment. It was supposed to be just a routine blood work, and his plans that day were to go alone to that appointment. I'm confident it was God's plan that day for me to be by his side when the doctor gave him that news, and I consider that a big blessing. Fast forward 10 months to last June. Things were changing quickly and dramatically. He didn't have any appetite, his discomfort and insomnia were raging. It was a Tuesday, and I stopped by his house on my lunch hour to check on him. Mark was still driving just days beforehand, and little did I know that the end was so near and that he would be gone in 3 days. I saw a difference in his condition and mood that day, and it elevated my fears even further. And even though I'm actually the younger sibling, my big sister instincts kicked in that day. At the end of my lunch hour, we were still sitting on his couch watching the Cubs game together. I told him I had to get back to the office, but I'd be back at 5 o'clock to check on him. I went back to my office, cleaned off my desk, shut off my computer, and told my boss, I need to go be with my brother. He's having a rough day, and I don't want him to be alone, and our other family members aren't available this afternoon. That was a blessing that I went back. I never expected that I would end up being off work the next 10 consecutive days to care for and ultimately say goodbye to him. I watched as my mom crumbled emotionally, and her heart was crying out, "It's not supposed to go like this. No parent should endure this." And she was right. And that's where much of my strength came from. She had been his daily supporter and cheerleader for months. It was time for me to step up and let her step back and grieve as a mother. The next 3 days and nights of my life were truly a blessing from God. I stayed with Mark nearly around the clock, alternating shower and sleep breaks with his devoted girlfriend, Doris. Together, she and I became proficient in pain management, anger management, medication dispensing, Mark's mood swings, personal hygiene, maid service, and prayer warrior, all for Mark. We laughed and we cried, but we got the job done with the dignity that he deserved. That week, I untapped hidden courage and strength that I didn't even know existed, and that was a blessing. Those final 3 nights of his life were so long, and it seemed the sun would never rise each morning, but it did. I will treasure those hours the rest of my life, and it was that time alone with him that sealed our brother and sister bond forever. There is no greater gift than being able to sit quietly in the darkness of night, holding the hand of your loved one and say everything that you need to say before you have to let them go. That was a blessing. Mark's battle ended around noon on Friday, June 29th. He left peacefully while surrounded by those who loved him the most. I was right there by his side. I'm the lucky one because I don't have any regrets, and that's a blessing. Family and friends made sure that Mark never fought alone, and my ongoing prayer is that nobody ever has to. I absolutely believe that sharing that final week by his side and being his caregiver has been key to my healing process this past year. I saw my big brother at his weakest and suffering greatly, but because of what we shared near the end, it was instrumental in helping me move forward. I was able to shift my pain into peace, knowing that his body was restored, his life was happy again, and I was by his side in the end. Nothing or anyone can ever tarnish the special memories we made together that week. Mark, it was my honor to care for you. You're my hero, and most importantly, I will see you again.